welcome to another episode of Misc Monday. Yay! And we have Laura,
Yay!
whatever side of the screen she's on. I never know
hmm
which side you're on. And we are thinking about going to makeup and markdown. Markdown and makeup? Makeup and markdown?
Like changing our name from Miscellaneous Mondays to
Yes. Yes.
Makeup Markdown or something like that.
Markdown makeup? Makeup markdown? I don't
hmm
know. I don't know. There's so many options out there.
Maybe it should be like we keep Miscellaneous Mondays and Makeup and Markdown is like a segment, like a recurring segment
Mm, that's an
where we
option
talk
too.
about makeup.
I like that. I like that. There's
hmm
options.
hmm
And I feel like if we do that, we should convince Erin to come on the show and then
Definitely.
do it with us too,
hmm
because she's been a part of it, whether or not she knows it or not, on all of these conversations. So, yes. And hello. This is a
Hi.
stream where, for all of those tuning in, where we just hang out because it's Monday.
Yeah.
And Mondays are kind of a struggle for a lot of
hmm
us.
hmm
And I just want to let everybody know that I had to do my lipstick today because Laura did her lipstick today.
hmm
And we have the same lipstick color, which is like my favorite. So I was like, dude, I got to do it. I
Yep.
have to.
Yep. It
The
turned
same.
out we had the same red. I've been thinking about trying I used to have Russian red. So this is Ruby Woo by MAC
Hmm. Hmm.
and
Hmm.
I used to have Russian red, which is
Oh,
like a little bit bluer than
okay.
Ruby Woo
Hmm.
and I'm kind of thinking of trying that out too again because I used to
Hmm.
really love it.
I think that's kind of cool. That's actually something that I've been talking to my hairdresser about because I'm going to go get my hair done in like 2 weeks. I'm so excited. I
Nice.
have a job. I can go get my hair done, um,
Yay.
and not just dye it myself. And the dangers of the bleach. It's
Mhm.
going to be great. That they we talked a lot about the undertones
Mhm.
of the red or the pink or the blue on what undertones are. And it's
Mhm.
crazy to me. And this is one of the big reasons I'm excited about talking about, if we do makeup and markdown,
Mhm.
because although a lot of people are like makeup is completely separate, color theory isn't.
That's true. Yeah.
And color theory goes into you have to understand how contrast they are or how much they will work together or being able to understand it and going in and changing. I think I'm
Mhm.
thinking a lot about this because of recently working with a lot of CFS and having to understand what colors I like there.
Yeah.
Um, they all go together for me.
Mm. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it does for anybody else, but it does for me.
Yeah.
And another side, totally random thing for you is my hairdresser told me she has exotic birds. And I don't know if everybody else knew this, but you cannot move exotic birds across state many times without a lot of things to jump through because
That
of
makes sense.
avian flu, I
Sure.
think it's called.
Mhm.
And Laura does not have pet birds. Those are outside her window at her house at the
That's true.
park. But every time we stream, I'm always like, it sounds like you have pet birds.
Ah. Yeah.
Makes me happy.
Yeah. They're good out there. I don't actually like birds
Fair enough. Fair
in
enough.
general. I like non-birds, like penguins and
Oh,
ducks. Like those are two very not particularly bird-like birds to my mind. Um, and yeah, but I don't like. Well, okay, can Canada geese are okay, but like the white geese are terrifying. One of them tried to murder me when I was like 3,
oh God.
and
Okay.
then when I was 12, we got an ostrich tried to attack us, and I'm just like, you know what? Fuck birds.
They're not
No,
your thing.
no, or I'm not
I
theirs or something. Because
I
yeah.
try to make friends with a lot of them.
Mm.
it does not work in my favor majority of the time.
Mhm.
But I am also a I get in trouble for a lot of things. Like if I go to a museum and there's art that looks very touchable, I really, really want to touch it, or I really
Mm.
want to make friends with this animal.
Mhm.
It's
I feel you.
definitely, I've had to learn to just kind
Mhm.
of avoid things and look from them from afar, or
Mhm.
hope that the animal will let me touch it and not die. And also know that you're not supposed to touch animals, and try to convince myself not to when I see the very pretty animal. But I've
Mhm.
actually wanted pet birds before. It's
Mm.
been a while, but like they're just really cute. And they're
Yeah.
fluffy.
I had a coworker that I used to house sit for, and they had an African gray, which is a parrot,
Ooh.
and her name was Katala. And Katala Katala was wicked smart, and she could do voices, and in particular, she could
What?
do your voice. And so, at 3 o'clock in the morning, she would do the answering machine. Pitch perfect. This was back in the days when like answering machines used to talk to you and you could hear the message that someone was leaving. And so she would do the outgoing answering machine message pitch
Oh my
perfect.
god.
You wouldn't know whether it was the bird or the machine because they were identical in sound. And then she would start leaving a message as you.
Oh
And she would
damn.
say like she spoke in complete sentences as you. Hi, it's Laura. I'm just calling to find out what time we're leaving on Saturday. Call me back. Bye.
Oh my gosh, that is so crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
she
ugh.
knew like what words went with the answering machine, so she wasn't like, Chat GPT exactly, except what's funny is that the famous paper about large language models is called Stochastic Parrots
Hmm.
and on the dangers of stochastic parrots, and that's exactly correct because she was a stochastic parrot.
I feel like that would be the type of pet I would want. Um, there is a very scary owl that was like on it lived on a hotel grounds, and of course I meet the owl and I'm like, dude, I want to be friends.
I
And
do like an owl, actually. That is a third exception to my bird rule.
so basically anytime I see somebody that is like a wildlife expert and has I'm gonna try to just show it instead of, let's see. I always try
Hi.
to get them to let me pet it. And
Mm.
I got to pet this one. I was very
Oh,
excited.
nice.
Yes, and hawks, and I just I I like have lots of photos of me trying to, yeah, like really should just like make an Instagram post of the animals I've tried to pet,
Mm. Mhm.
and I haven't died yet. But yeah, your story is much cooler about a parrot that, you know, is the answering machine.
Yeah, it
Or
was so weird too because like
it's
I
so
had
cool.
never left a voicemail. Like, so it's not like she was doing my voice, leaving a message that she had ever heard because it did
That's
not happen.
crazy.
She was
Okay.
doing my voice because she had learned my voice because we were house sitting and so we were there. So she learned my voice and then she applied those words with my voice.
Weird.
Yeah. Yeah,
See,
it really was. She also did the fire alarm.
oh,
And so you're like
no.
having to get up and be like, is it the real one? Oh no, it's the fucking bird.
So, where I work now, Ivan, it's the crabs. I have a sticker. It's very cute. Let's see if I
Oh,
go in the right direction. There we go.
so cute.
But it makes me want to get pet crabs.
Oh,
I know.
I don't know if they want to be pets.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm still working on getting a cat. We have our dog.
Mm,
Still working on getting a cat. So maybe,
hmm.
maybe one day I'll get
Yeah,
there. We'll broaden away from just a dog. But we actually did have something not completely miscellaneous today, even though we're really good at miscellaneous.
it's true. I've got so many more weird pet stories,
If you would like to
but
go down that route, I'm so down.
that's okay. We can keep them for future
Okay.
times. Pets, strange pets will come up again, I'm sure.
Are
I've had
you
some
excited
unusual
to
pets.
hear some really random, in the middle of the night, woke me up ideas for talk titles?
Totally.
I'm just going to read them in no judgment. I'm just going
Yeah.
to read them.
Hmm.
Live learning is life saving. Uh, how learning live unlocks the gate to tech. I'm a potato. Ideas to use your neurodiversity to your advantage. Socializing causes me to 404. Debug in your sleep how naps are your most undervalued tool. Breaking through I don't wanna, how analysis paralysis keeps us from success. Noobs in tech aren't here to steal your job. How to ask better questions and get help from those who don't want to help you. Why does tech gatekeep and how to become secure while helping others? The pros and cons of saying fuck it. This one like was cracking me up. It's from Friday's stream because I learned about duck coding. I've never heard of it before, but it's duck coding and types of ducks and how having data types can help your ducking code.
That's
It
really
was
fun.
cracking me up
Hmm.
because it was the opposite of like TypeScript because yeah, it's yeah. Anyway, um how saying I don't know out loud can help your career. Becoming secure in your role to use your privilege to level the playing field. They don't bite unless you're a beginner. Overcoming the shame of saying I don't know. Debugging dyslexia.
Those
And
are
those are
so
the
good, Jen. Your
well,
middle of the night brain is really good at this.
middle of the night brain. Came
Hmm.
up with some topic ideas, and yeah, that is what I got. But I liked what you mentioned about. I'm going back to it because I don't remember what conference it was. DevroCon London.
Yeah. I want to give
Yeah,
some context to some expressions that I think my face was making while you were reading, because I think at one point I was cracking up and I want to just make sure that nobody thinks that I was like laughing at like your titles as
you
such.
can.
What I was laughing at is that like four of your five, so like 20% of yours are blog posts, like stub drafts that I have like started.
Nice. Yes. Yes. I like it. I like it.
Yep.
Well, there you go. You have some talk ideas.
I guess I just hadn't been thinking of them as talk ideas. I was thinking of them as blog posts, but
What's the
that
difference?
doesn't have to be mutually exclusive.
I think that is a great question because I know that like Ramon and Roselle, which I should go find their deets, do a lot of work on like CFP work. So does Francesco. These are all humans that do a lot in helping others develop their talks.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't think I've ever asked them. So I'm curious, a what's the difference between making something a blog or a talk?
Mm. Hmm. I think that it's not at all unusual to write a blog post first and then create a talk from that blog post.
Yeah.
I think that's super
Okay.
common.
I think it also may just be like this is something you and I have talked about. And to answer your question, an idea of that I was thinking about with for you was how to, I'm trying to think of the title I thought of because this was over the weekend. It wasn't last night when I was writing down the rest of them. Damn it. But about the tech writing can be sexy
Hmm. Okay.
because being able to be successful is sexy.
Mm-hmm.
And like without tech writers, I mean, you can have super ADHD people like me that will make a lot of video, like a shit ton of video, but if
Mm-hmm.
nobody like transcribes it or does
Mm-hmm.
their own work or like tries to take it and go do something else, it's
Mm-hmm.
not ever gonna you can't search things that don't have transcripts or art in text.
Mm-hmm. Too true.
And therefore, tech wouldn't be where we're at without tech writers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's not as hard as I personally thought it was. I mean, it's not easy. It's still not my favorite thing. You can have it all day, every day, all yours, but you made it not as scary.
Oh, good. Yeah, I mean, it's tricky because my first job in tech, my first post academic job was as a technical writer. But
Hmm.
in between when I started applying for technical writer roles and when I landed one, I had found out about what developer advocates do
Hmm.
and realized like, oh, I think that's probably where I want to end up for a while, not just tech writing. Like because developer advocates can do tech writing, but um I wanted to do more other stuff too. And so it's slightly tricky because I've just 2 months ago become a developer advocate instead of a technical writer. And so I'm slightly nervous about like pigeonholing myself. Like if I did a talk as talking about technical writing, would that like drag me back to technical writing exclusively as opposed to DevRel as a whole?
I hear that. And
You
I,
do?
yes, I feel like no matter what role you're in, everyone has to like lean into their skill set
Mhm.
and not like, and it could be technical, your technical writing, like if you were to do something like this, it could be about blogs. And uh there are at least all of the dev roles that I work with at Ivan, they all have to blog too.
Mhm.
I'm having to review a technical thing and I'm just like this is not fun. It is
Oh.
fun, but it's not fun, but it's like
Mhm.
it's really hard
Mhm.
and it's a lot of, I don't think people are necessarily taught to do it. Like, for example, people are like, Jen, you could write or you could like do a speech about podcasting or live streaming. And I'm like, why would I do that? They're like, because it's really hard. I'm like, no, no, no. Everybody could do it. It'll be good. Let's go.
Mhm.
Where it's just something I kind of fell into. So it's easier for me, but it's something that I could talk about, even
Mhm.
though I don't necessarily want to just say I'm a podcaster. Like I'm more than that.
Right.
Where, but it is a skill set I have that I could help break it down for others. So,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
it is another reason why I got hired was to live stream.
Right.
But I get what you're saying because it's almost like typecasting.
Yeah, I guess. And I guess like I feel like if I could do a talk maybe. I don't know. I just don't want it to be like I am a technical writer because I don't want to stay there. I want to stay
How
here.
tech writing got you into DevRel.
Mhm. Um yeah. Yeah. So that's been sort of a tricky thing like while I've been thinking about So the context for everybody is that DevRelCon London will be in September, and the call for proposals for talks closes on March 31st. Oh, which is 11 days from now. Okay. And I would like to submit a proposal, but I've been having trouble thinking of what to submit. And like I have these blog post ideas and so on, but most of them are not DevRel specific.
They don't have to be.
So, well, but I think they'll be more likely to be chosen if they are. Um, so let me go to their website because they have like themes
Ooh, yes. Tell us
um,
the themes.
for this year or for September's con.
Yay,
Do-do-do.
Bakari!
Hey, Bakari.
Yay. Okay, I Bakari, have you told everybody the news about the thing you bought?
I have not heard the news.
I'm really excited for him. That's why I want to talk about it, but I don't know if he told everybody. Yay! It's fucking gorgeous, too. I saw the Zillow. I saw the Zillow.
Yay! Congratulations! I want to see
They bought a
Zillow.
house.
Not on the stream, obviously, but
It's really
uh,
pretty. I'm very excited for them.
yay! That's so cool.
Nice. Can I go off on a very random tangent that
It
has
is
something to do
Miscellaneous
with the.
Mondays.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. Because I do want to go back to DevRelCon, but I really want to share something that reminds me of a bit of Bakari's story. Of
Mhm.
So yesterday, my friend and I go out for sushi. Y'all, this is like a really crazy thing, being able to go out for lunch with your friends after not having a job for forever. It's like, whoa,
Mhm.
I can do this stuff now. This is crazy. So I am very stubborn and I'm like, I'm going to ride the bus down there to go meet her because it's $3 compared to $30.
Mhm.
And so I ride the bus down there. All is good. We meet for sushi. We're walking back to her car because she's going to drive us to the next spot. And we walk by this uh, somebody selling bouquets of flowers where they're just like, hey, donate to the American Lung Association for whatever and we'll give you a bouquet of flowers. I'm like, cool. So we both did really pretty flowers, and we get to our next area, which is called the Milk Market in Denver. It's really cool. Everybody should check it out. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to carry my flowers with me because I'm going to take the bus home. She's going to leave hers on her car. So I'm just randomly carrying these flowers around. And we go, and as soon as we come in, we see the most gorgeous drag queens. And they start talking to me. And they're like, oh, are those flowers for us? And I'm like, yeah, take them. And they're like, no. I'm like, no, really, you can take them. And they're like, no. I'm like, well, will you take them if we take a selfie? And they're like, we'll just take a selfie with you. And I'm like, okay, yay.
Nice.
So Danae and I took selfies with them. And then we go to a coffee shop, and the coffee shop has a pink cup, and Danae's favorite color is pink. And today is her birthday. And so we're there yesterday, and they're like, yo, we can't give you the pink cup. Those are for us to use, blah, blah, blah. We only sell the yellow ones. And like, Danae's super bummed and walks away. And I walk up to them. I'm like, yo, can I buy the pink cup or a drink with the pink cup? And you could say I broke it and like charge me for it. Like, I need that cup in my life. It is my friend's birthday tomorrow. Pink is her favorite color. And they totally did. They're like, just buy a yellow one. We'll just give you the pink. It's fine. I'm like, yes. And I'm like,
That's
I'm
nice.
also asking them, hey, do you have anything I can put these flowers in? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, I tried. So we go to the bar. There's a bar, like a full bar. And we're like, I'm like, oh, if we go to the full bar, they probably have a bottle I could have to put the flowers in. No, hard no. Any ideas I was coming up with for the bartender, he was like shutting everything down, no matter what. Like, he was trying to be nice about it, but not like really interested. He's like, you guys are just dumb, like, go away. Seats were uncomfortable. We didn't get another round. So we're like, oh, hey, we found somewhere else to walk to. And we go into this little brewery, And this girl is like, "Oh my God, those flowers are gorgeous. It's my mom's, I don't know, birthday, or she was having a bad day or something. She's like, purple is her favorite color. I need to go get those." And it's two totally different parts of Denver. And I was just like, here you go. And it was just like crazy. And I mention all of this because it's like, all of this happened for a reason. We couldn't find
Mm.
glasses and things because they were meant to go to this bartender, because literally they had the perfect jar to put her flowers in for her mom. And she wasn't going to have time to get flowers for her mom, and she really, really wanted to. And I
So
say
good.
all of that because Bakari got a house. And I feel like shit happens for a reason. And that is my
Mm-hmm.
really odd full circle way of saying I'm super stoked for Bakari.
Yeah.
And happy birthday, Danae.
Yes. Happy birthday, Danae.
Yeah. So thank you for my letting me go on my random tangent. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Okay. DevRelCon. Okay, let
Mm-hmm.
me uh yay, you're still here. I wasn't sure if you were still here for the full story or not. I don't know if it made sense, like how there's a, I don't know. But so we got themes.
Yeah.
DevRelCon London themes, developer education, doing more with less, and developer success.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So where do are any of those themes like vibed more?
Um, for me, probably the developer education, just because, hi, you know.
As a quick recap, Laura used to be a math professor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Laura, I don't
Hmm.
know if you refer this stream. This is why I literally can't like lie to anybody because I don't remember where anybody is. So that instead, people just hear things multiple times in a row, or I forget to tell people that. Is Laura and Bakari and Lucia and Anthony are all previous teachers or professors.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think if I have any more than that. I wonder how many past educators I could have on the stream.
I mean, Ramon is totally an educator, not like a
I agree.
but I mean,
Ian,
teaches like boot camps and
yeah.
stuff like with tens
So
of
we're up to
thousands
six.
of learners.
So we're up to six because Ian, you made me think of Ian when you said Ramon, which that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make any sense, but you said boot camps. So
Sure.
um
Um,
okay. So we're at six.
so thank you, Bakari. But Bakari, are you going to submit for DevRelCon London? Because that would be fun.
That would be fun.
Mm-hmm. Do any of those themes speak to you, Jen?
Um Bakari, if you submit, is it something that you can see if they will pay for it? Because I know some conferences do.
And, sometimes employers.
Yeah. That's a tricky thing about like applying for conferences is you might go through all this work and get accepted, but they don't help pay for anything, and they don't always
Mm-hmm.
tell you up front, which is annoying. But I can reach out to them. I've done some work for them before, so
Mm-hmm.
I can reach out and see if I can find out. But
On
oh
there,
yes,
on the ticket page, or on the submission page, they do say, that please note you or your employer will need to cover your costs to attend the conference, but of course you
uh,
won't have to buy a ticket.
and it's in London.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm,
Yep.
hmm. Well, okay, may not work out, but there's other
Mhm.
conferences too.
Mhm.
And to answer your question on themes, I would say doing more with less
Yeah.
because I am lazy as shit. And my brain thinks, what is the easiest way to get from A to B? Now, what my brain comes up with is not always that, but it's my thought process at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So I like doing more with less because
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great thing about streaming is
Yeah.
literally like I think Theo is a great example of this. I don't know if y'all have ever watched Theo's streams. He is definitely, I can say he's not everybody's cup of tea. He is not
Okay.
everybody's cup of tea. I find him absolutely hilarious and very, very direct. And Theo on his stream will do like live stream his short videos while he's live streaming.
Mm-hmm.
So like he has a shortcut that he'll like click and it goes in the chat and he'll be like, "Yo, and this Theo rants." He does a Theo rant and I feel like we should like I'll clip this for Theo rants. I like this. His setup is not like that, but okay. And then he ends the clip and so he recorded his short stuff and his long form and takes care of both. That is doing more with less.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
I thought it was really cool. I don't know why it was so
Yeah.
mind blowing to me, but that's just one example of them, of more with less. I also like the idea. What is one that you always tell me about from Jason Langendorf?
Langsdorff, I think.
Yeah, yeah, you are correct. Why I can Jason's been on the show and I still can't get his name right. I am I will share Jason's learn with Jason. Learn with Jason. And yes, everybody, I do share Twitters. You do not have to have a Twitter to actually look at stuff, and you can still see all of their links to go
Mm-hmm.
elsewhere. But I think you said it was called the buffalo stick.
Yeah, using all of the buffalo and like don't forget the buffalo stick. It's like a combination of idioms.
I feel like I'm talking more than I'm used to. I'm not used to talking anymore, apparently. This is what
Oh yeah?
happens when well, I don't really oh, yeah, okay, maybe I do talk a lot, but also normally just potato for the weekend.
Mm. Yeah, same.
And I didn't potato this weekend. This weekend was very busy.
Mm.
It was lovely, but it was busy. But I think this is one thing that I have to realize is just because I can go out doesn't mean I have to go out and it's okay to still potato.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And I got the term still potato from Ramon. I'm gonna go
Mm-hmm.
potato.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And let's see, I think I can do shout outs for all these people that we oh, we should
Oh.
shout out Bakari because Bakari's
Mm-hmm.
here. Shout out to Bakari and shout out at nope. Oh, it's
Hey, Ben.
Ben. We'll shout out Ben because Ben's here, so I can.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have to wait a minute 46 seconds before giving another shout out. So please stand by.
Okay.
I'll wait. I will wait. And so, what other topics, like when you're talking about developer education, I am still vibing like the tech writing, maybe not that phrasing. Like maybe it's something about writing in general, maybe not tech writing. Like when I say this, maybe not a technical writer, but educating people on how to create technical content. because developer education, you taught me, ooh, Laura, you taught me how to learn better, especially when I get stuck and how to work through it. I did it on my own the other day without you
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, it was not my favorite.
Mhm.
I may or may not have had a complete breakdown about accessibility tools and felt like I was in high school again, cried a ton, and then decided to walk away. And then the next day I went back to it and just used a different tool and was able to do my first read through of a technical document for my tech review.
Oh, good.
Because, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, Ben, I said both. So, yes, yes. It was not pretty, but mm, old Jen would be like, I can't do it. Not because, like, I think I can't do it, but I don't necessarily see how to get through it.
Mhm.
Where
Yep.
now I'm like, okay, even if I don't understand it, I can still go through it, go through the process, like highlight words I don't understand,
Mhm.
and then go back and research the topics and things. I still need to go back and research, but because you've been on my stream so much, I have learned that I am someone that gets a lot of understanding by context. So I listened to the entire article,
Mhm.
and then went back through and did the words I didn't understand or topics or things I didn't understand.
Mhm.
So that way I was like, cool, I'm not getting it because of context. So this is something I should probably go research.
Mhm.
And I just want to say, you helped me get unstuck with that.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
You taught me how to
Um,
learn better.
yeah, there's a book that I read when I was a professor, called Teaching Students How to Learn.
Ooh,
And so that could be like teaching developers how to learn.
ooh, yes. I think that would be huge.
Mhm. I could totally do a talk on that. Mhm. Oh, another thing is, let me find a link for it, but, there are lots of blog posts with, like, tips for how to read research papers, which would also be applicable to, I mean, a lot of it would still be applicable to, like, how to read. I don't know what kind of, like, what the format was for the technical article that you were reading, but a lot of that would still apply. Let me find one of those links.
I think that is a big part of what we're talking about, though, is you just like taking apart what you just said of there are a lot of blog articles that say this.
Mhm.
Yeah, no. If somebody hands me a blog, I'm gonna be like, do I gotta? I will if I gotta. I will use my text to speech if I gotta, but it's not gonna sink in as much. Do you have a video or a podcast or a
Mhm.
talk or anything other than an actual blog or tech or like docs? Because I'm,
Okay.
even to this day, I still skip over things that I don't realize I skip over in docs. And my D&D crew gets annoyed at me for doing so because I like to break a lot of things. And then I asked Jacob very nicely to walk me through where I missed something.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, yeah.
I just wanna bring up Ben's question. So, would I recommend that book? Um, it's hard to say. It was quite a few years, it was, like, 5 years ago that I read it, and a lot of it mostly only applies to teaching in, like, a formal academic context, because there's, like, you need like teaching students how to read and absorb and refer back to the syllabus. And this is how to prepare for a midterm. And this is how to, and so it was really good. It was really pretty good for that purpose. And in particular, just like thinking of, okay, so the biggest thing that I got out of that book was just almost the title, in the sense that it just recognizes and honors that we do have to teach students how to learn. Like learning how to
Mm-hmm.
learn, that meta learning how to learn is such a complete thing.
Mm-hmm.
You have to learn how to do it. Nobody is born knowing how to learn.
Especially with neurodiversities that especially weren't taught years ago and how to get through them
Right.
because you don't learn like everybody else.
Yep. And that book was very prescriptive, in the sense that there were like, it wasn't, students should do like, here are a bunch of different ideas and students should do what works for them. It was very, here are the things that students do or should do to be successful learners.
Right.
So I guess I would say I don't recommend that book, at least not for the like teaching developers how to learn context.
Mm-hmm.
There were some really good tips. I just don't feel like they cover, or like for people who are teaching in like formal academic institutions, there were some really good learning tips in there. I just don't feel like it's everything, because it doesn't address different uh learning needs and stuff like that. Um but learning how you yourself learn well, first of all, just acknowledging that we have to learn how to learn, I feel like is at least half the battle. And then uh most of the rest of the battle is recognizing that when your amygdala is activating that fight or flight mode, that's when you have to stay. Or if you cannot, like Jen, you had to like step away and take a break and come back the next day. And that
Mm-hmm.
is also totally a strategy. Oh hey Ramon. But
What up?
yeah, that's when the learning is happening. And it's hard because as a professor, I found that students generally were really, really resistant to the way that I taught, because what they wanted from a math professor is somebody who stands at the board and they solve 35 problems, and then that's it, more or less. And so like they just watch and they're like writing it down. And so they feel like they're learning because they're watching somebody do something, and that person is having success. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I understand why you did A and then B and then C and then D and then we were done. Okay, great. I understand how to do this problem. But then when you sit down to do the homework and you're trying to do a problem that is so similar, but you still like, you're not exactly sure, like, oh wait, I thought I understood why when we had A then we had to do B, but now I don't understand why we had to do B. And so now I have a situation where I don't know when I have to do B and when I don't, because I don't know what B is for. And that happens all the time in programming, right? Like especially if what you're doing is pattern matching. So you're looking at code that somebody else wrote and you're like adapting it to do something else. If you don't understand what a particular piece of code is, like line of code is for, then you might be using it where you don't need it, or not using it where you do need it because you don't know what it's
Mm-hmm.
for. Is
Mm-hmm.
totally a thing. And that happens in math all the time too. Um, and so that I think is, but it feels so much better to watch somebody do a lecture and you feel like you got it, and then you don't find out until later that you don't got it. It feels so much better than finding out that you don't got it, right?
Hmm. I don't know. I say that because sometimes it's
Feels
pushing.
safer. Let me say that. It feels safer, not better, safer. Sorry, I totally interrupted you.
I'm still thinking it through in the fact that it's almost like I don't know. Sometimes figuring it out later can prevent sheeple because you would
How do
have
you
had to
mean?
learn something based on the context that you learned it from. And if nobody's disagreeing with you, the way they meant it or the way it's supposed to be taught may not actually be the right way to be taught because other people may make other neural connections where they may be right too.
I'm trying to process what you said.
I know, I think I'm getting a little too
I'm not sure
philosophical.
what you mean, I guess. Because like here's an of like the kind of thing that I
Okay.
mean is like I would instead of solving 35 problems and then saying bye bye, have fun doing your homework, I would solve like, oh, we are, yes, we are talking about learning how to learn, Ramon. In the context of maybe I should do a talk on this for Devrel Con London. Um, so I would as a math professor. Oh no, with you. Okay, we'll be working on Python, right? Like in our other stream, we'll be doing the Python, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't tell you the answer, and
Okay.
I don't tell you how something works,
Okay.
and I let you poke at it. And like if you like are totally stuck, I'll try to like help like guide you in a direction, and like we'll try different things and see like does this work. No. Does the other thing work? No. Maybe the third thing works. And then we can figure out why the first two things didn't work and so on, as opposed to just saying, type this and then type that. Okay, great. That worked. And now we can move on.
Yes.
Hmm.
And the way I was taking it in that same example was like learning the chapter beforehand. So that's my understanding
Hmm.
where even with like Josh, when Josh comes on the stream for TypeScript, it will be readjusting what I was learning, but a lot of times the connections I made were accurate, just not always in the order that was being taught. So that's what I was saying. Like,
Oh,
you
yeah.
may not always want to be told that it was wrong per se, because your connections could have been correct, just not in the order somebody else would have done it.
Totally. But you won't find out you won't get to that point where you find out like, oh, I had connections here but they were in the wrong order or something like that, if all you ever hear is a lecture, like in like a math lecture context, say, if it's always just a lecture, then you only ever like go, oh, okay, well, I thought I understood this thing but actually we're doing it this other way, so I guess that thing was wrong and it might not have been. You have to be like working together. Like it's a team effort. And what I have found is that students generally want it to be a unidirectional situation. Information flows from me into you, the end, as opposed to like a loop.
Really quick. So I just started listening to it, but I feel like you are just like saying what this thing just said. So I
Mm,
really, there is a book I just started listening to on Audible, said how to say it, words that make a difference. I will share
mm,
this here shortly. And what they were talking about is how, yes, there's like context and those type of things. I'm only like couple chapters in. But one of the things they talk about is the together. that a lot of times when we say together, we're willing to go further than we are if we're told we have to do it alone.
Totally.
And that was like what you were just
Totally.
saying.
Yep.
And that's a big reason why I started Teach Gen Tech is because I learned that my learning style is not exactly suitable for school, is what I have found, because I want to be able to talk things out with people. And it's, I mean, maybe now I'd be more successful, but back then, y'all, I was really fucking awkward. Nobody wanted to talk to me. Like, literally, nobody wanted to talk to me. So maybe I just grew out of that phase.
The educational system, like I guess I want to gently draw a distinction between school and the style of institution that we call school in most
Please
places.
elaborate.
Because it's completely possible to okay, I mean, I'm always talking about I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm always talking about Montessori education, but like, um, at my kid's school, when he's in middle school, so throughout, like, we've talked about how, like, in the lower ages, they'll be the kids will be like sprawled on the floor learning stuff, um,
Hmm.
and so on. So they are like working together if they want to be. And then like as they get older, like that stays true. And so like in the middle school, the history classroom, there are no desks. There's like a table that's big enough for maybe 8 people to sit around. And then there is a sofa and a bunch of bean bags and a bunch of bookshelves and so on, because history class is a conversation.
And I think,
Math class is also a conversation. No desks. It's one table where everybody's like, it's a square and everybody's like facing each other.
yes. And the school your kids go to were monastery schools where majority of America is not that.
Exactly.
Okay,
So I don't
cool.
think that your learning style is is not suited to school. I think that your learning style and most people's learning style is not suited to the type of like the style in which we educate people, where like there are a bunch of desks, the teacher stands at the front of the room, the teacher imparts information, the students absorb information, people only talk when they raise their hands and are called upon,
Fair.
class is over, goodbye, which I think is garbage for practically
Yes, but I
everybody.
feel like we'll definitely go down a different rabbit hole if we go doing that,
Mhm.
which we are very, very good at doing. Now, I do want to mention that, yes, Ramon, we are totally talking about ways to learn, learning to learn, which
Mhm.
has been a journey and a half, even for myself. And thanks for introducing me to Laura, because it's helped a
Yeah.
lot. Um, and then I've been reposting things that Ramon posted of uh, they had a Dr. Barbara Oakley and Zach Carceres to talk about this very topic at a free boot camp they taught last year. And
Hmm.
it is linked. And then also, semi sort of related, The Programmer's Brain by Feline Ermis. Gonna
Um,
go with, please don't ask me how to say anybody's names or words in general. I'm not great at it. Um, but the reason we're talking about this is taking it back to the beginning. We were talking about Laura wanting to find some um, ideas to submit the CFP, and Laura has taught me how to learn better. And that is how we got to where we're at right now,
mhm.
if
Yeah.
that's a good way of recapping it.
Mhm. I
Yes.
wonder if I don't know. Like I see then this talk And then I think, oh, like I wonder, maybe I shouldn't try to write this talk because somebody's already written this talk.
Yeah, but
So
that's not going to click for everybody. We all have different ways of saying things. Dude,
it's
this
true.
has happened so many times where you've told me something, and I'm like, yeah, okay. And then like Jay will say something, and I'm like, oh, it finally clicks.
Mm,
Or you've told me something like 7 times, like functions. I know what functions are. I use functions all the time. And then I look at a book trying to describe functions, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this is. What's a function?
hmm Yeah. Yeah, I mean, sometimes our brains like get stuck on like, oh, I don't know. We'll have I think it's like some kind of a an unconscious memory or like we remember having found something really hard at one point and then our brain just like pings on that. Like we see the
Hmm.
word and then we're like, "Oh, that's that scary thing."
Hmm.
And then get stuck in there and we have to like talk ourselves out of it. Like, "Oh, that was a scary thing." And then I turned on the light and it turned out that it was okay. But now every time I, see this word, I have to like go through these motions. That happens to
I'm
me.
still kind of convinced something's going to happen. I just am like, the boogie monster may be gone right now, but they're
Mm.
going to be back. Try having a panic attack while camping, trying to find the restroom at night with no flashlight, and you couldn't find your glasses.
Oh no. Nope.
That was a shit show. I say
Mhm.
that because, like, those are the type of things that I'm like, okay, if I can do that, I can get through what I'm trying to learn. It will
Mhm.
happen. I don't know if
Mhm.
that's what other people do to try to get through shitty situations. I just try to think of a shittier situation that I've gotten through to get through it.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if it's logical, but it works.
Yeah.
So, what are other things in developer education that interest you?
I don't know. That just sort of seems like it could be a niche for me because that's my background is in education
Yeah.
and so on. So I
And
don't know.
you already taught a developer how to learn.
That's true.
That's weird to say. I'm a developer.
You totally are.
This feels really weird to say.
I hear you. What do you think you might submit a talk for?
I don't know. Did any of my topics work for uh, doing less for more, more for less? Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's an angle in there. Um,
I don't know if everybody else was here. I also
mm,
could um, copy and paste these real quick. Please
mhm.
stand by while I awkwardly stare at my phone and try to. So for everybody that was not here at the very beginning, I decided that it would be really fun. I did not decide. But I woke up to a bunch of random talk ideas. So I woke up enough to text them to myself. And it's a bunch of random ideas. I will share them here shortly. Um, okay. Yes, Bakari panic attacks suck. Ramon fed their dog and always think the person who gave a similar topic might not be at the conference from that perspective, for sure. And also similar, they know what it's like to learn JavaScript,
Mm,
actually CoffeeScript, but still in 2010, you know what it's like to learn JavaScript in 2020. Point
mhm.
being, perspectives matter. General you, not one of you in particular.
Yeah.
Well, that's good because I didn't learn JavaScript in 2020. I didn't know what was going on in the world. I was trying to learn like camera shit, and it was not fun.
Mm. Mhm.
Okay, hey, I can make it all fit in. Last screenshot. Yay. Okay, done. Save. All of these are duplicated. I will share my screen here shortly because I'm texting them to myself. But hey,
Mm.
half awake Jen couldn't figure out how else to get them down, and then I woke up, which sucks.
Mhm.
I don't want to wake up, but the ideas were flowing, man.
Yep.
Okay, accept. And then we get into these and go to downloads, these. Okay, please stand by. Screen share.
I am I am sleepy. I had to be up at 4 a.m. today
No,
to take
thank you.
Brendan to the airport, and I'm like, huh, sleepy.
Yeah, no, thank you. Okay, so it comes from this one. This one is first. Uh, learning live is life saving. How learning live unlocks the gate to tech. Ramon already left. I think they would have
Hmm.
liked this one of I'm a potato. Ideas to use your neurodiversity to your advantage. Socializing causes me 404 to 404. Debug in your sleep how naps are your most undervalued tool. There's supposed to be an L there. Breaking through I don't wanna how analysis paralysis keeps us from success. Noobs aren't here to steal your job. How to ask better questions to get help from those who don't want to help you. Why does tech gatekeep and how to become secure while helping others? Pros and cons of saying fuck it. Types of ducks, how having data types can help your ducking code. And learning in public, overcoming, I don't know, how saying I don't know out loud can help your career. Becoming secure in your role and use your privilege to level the playing field. They don't bite unless you're a beginner. Overcoming the shame of saying I don't know and debugging dyslexia. Those those are the ideas.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think about how to relate them to DevRel in particular.
Mm-hmm.
And like from there, like which ones would fit the theme of doing more with less or any of the other themes. What were they? Developer education and something?
Developer success. I
Mm,
think they all
mhm,
could really go into developer success.
mhm. Oops, didn't mean to do that. There we go. Scrolling
Um,
back through the comments.
yeah. They all, I mean, they all could, but I think it's definitely something that I don't know. I'll have to noodle on it because I actually have been asking my mentor at work for help on this. So I'm excited to
Mm,
show him all of these random ideas
mhm. Yeah.
because I'm like, there are a lot of them. What do I do with them now?
I have your one about naps. I have
Hmm.
a blog post started but not finished called How Taking Every Afternoon Off Increases My Productivity.
Nice.
Because I do in fact take every afternoon off in the sense that I work in 2 shifts, I guess,
Hmm.
and this is just, like, my style. It's nothing to
Hmm.
do with nobody imposed this upon me,
Hmm.
except my biology, I suppose. So, I do, like, a really good shift of work from, like, 8 to 1-ish,
Hmm.
and then I am not very useful between 1 and about 8:30 PM, in fact. And then I get another really good burst from like 8:30 to like 11 or midnight.
Hmm.
And so I work in 2 bits and I also kind of sleep in 2 bits. So I'll
Okay.
sleep from like midnight to, 6:30 or so, and then I have a nap somewhere in the middle of that, like, I am not useful now afternoon. I tried last week to pretend that that wasn't a thing, and I
Hmm.
tried to keep working past 1 PM, and I got nowhere, and I felt terrible and useless and so on, and I was like, "Okay, I guess I am just going to take a nap because I'm not actually making any progress, and I'm
Hmm.
sleepy," and I had my nap, and I woke up, had some coffee, and at 8:30, I was like, "Oh, I'm ready to go," and I worked until midnight, and then I was like, "I knew this. I already knew this about myself. Why did I
Hmm.
pretend that I didn't know this about myself?"
I
And
personally,
beat myself up about
okay, I don't
it.
that part, but I feel like we all kind of like it's good to test things. Are we
Mhm,
still the way we created this habit around? Like,
mhm,
not gonna lie, I still try to eat gluten from time to time. Like, I'm
mm,
gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. No, I really shouldn't have done that.
mhm,
But I've also learned because of that that I can eat a little more gluten than I thought I could.
mm,
If
mhm,
I have like chicken nuggets, I will be okay. If I were to have a beer or pizza that is just all the
mhm,
gluten,
mhm,
I will be suffering
mhm,
severely.
mhm,
Cheesecake, I can eat it with the crust.
mhm,
Now, dairy, since cheesecake is dairy too, ice cream will kill me. Milk will kill me. Like I will be in the bathroom crying.
mhm,
Where cream cheese, cheese, cheesecake, I'm fine. Totally fine.
hm,
I say all of that because sometimes we have to find our habit, and
mhm,
then sometimes we have to test it. Test it to
sure.
see if it's still right. Where I have learned that, especially with the new job, I wake up around 4-ish and then take my medication to be on the call by 5 or 6.
Mhm,
I work until lunch, and that's when I get ready for streaming normally. And then I stream, I'm done by 2, try to take the dog for a long walk, and then I'm gonna pass out for like 45 minutes. And it's
mm,
like the best thing ever because then I'm like, oh, okay, like I'm figuring my way around this world. Yet
mhm,
it's also really weird because I'm like, this is the longest day ever.
mm, mhm,
Because 5 a.m. roughly to 8 p.m. feels like a very, very long time. So it's also now my goal is finding out how do I, where in this new setup do I find motivation to do uh, the dishes or
mm,
laundry?
mhm,
But I'm like, it's one step at a time. We're walking the dog every day. That's a pretty good one for like a half-hour walk. That is the new good thing to do. If I try to do it
good.
all at once, I will explode
Mhm,
and then won't get anywhere. And we'll just
yep.
go back to being a hermit in my bed.
Hermit in the bed.
I
That is also
know.
totally me.
I really wanted a hermit yesterday, even though I really had a lot of fun going out. And that is something that oh, that's another thing you could talk about. Outgoing introverts and needing to hermit.
Yeah. In Devrel, in particular?
Yeah.
Mhm, yeah,
I think I'm just if you don't use that one or you can't do and we could both submit, I think I need to ask Ramon if this is okay, but I really want to use the one I'm a potato.
oh, are you concerned about, uh, like, idea infringement and with respect to the word potato?
No, it's more of like I think everybody could submit something because they're all going to be a little different. It's more I wouldn't say idea infringement of I wouldn't want people to get sad. Like, uh, if everybody's going for the same role, not everybody's going to be accepted. So if you do things similar, then it could cause hesitation. I don't think that's the right word, but
Role?
I use role as example, but for the same talk, the same anytime multiple people or multiple friends are going to the same something.
Uh-huh.
It
Oh, I
could
get it.
cause
So you mean
sadness.
you don't want, like, if Ramon was already submitting something along those lines.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And is he okay with me using his phrase, I'm a potato?
So that's
Because
what
I
I was going to
use
say
a
is
lot.
I don't think that that's strictly Ramon's phrase.
I agree, but I learned it from Pheromone, so I
Oh, okay.
associate it with him. So
Gotcha.
I think that's also something that I am just personal about of like, who do I associate it with? And is it
Hmm.
because I came up with that word because of them, or did they say the word and I latched onto it?
Hmm.
Because it could have a sentimental meaning to them. I
Gotcha.
like the phrase I'm a potato because I grew up in Idaho, the potato state. And I
Ah,
love
mm-hmm.
French fries and potatoes. Like any
Mm-hmm.
type of potato, I really, really like potatoes.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to do I'm a potato.
Good.
But so many options,
Yeah.
so many things. Well, I hope today was helpful with getting ideas flowing.
Totally. Yeah. I'm very low energy at the moment, and so I feel much more enthusiastic in my head than my body is conveying, because I'm a potato right now, let me tell
Yeah.
you.
I just want to,
'Cause
that I feel like should be our new phrase is I'm a potato on the outside, on the
mhm,
inside, it's a party.
mhm,
Um, on Wednesday night, I have a concert to go to. Like my friend was
mm,
like, "Yo, I got tickets. They're sold out. You should go with me." And I'm like, "You do know, like they don't go on stage till my bedtime. I may be there completely enjoying myself, but yawning the entire time and may not be dancing
mhm,
that much." And she's like, "It's okay. As long as I know that you're enjoying yourself." And I'm like, "No, I'm so excited about this, but
mhm.
I might be potatoing there.
Yeah,
Might be a potato at a concert. Might
mhm,
happen."
yep,
But
it's a thing.
well, thank you, Laura, and enjoy the rest of
Yes,
your
thank you.
day. And I've got a couple streamers left. Let's go put you over to Parasocial Fix.
Hmm,
They're a dope human.
I don't know them.
You should. They are cool.
Yeah,
They are in Utah
okay,
and are Russian and
okay.
helped me figure out some streaming top things. But
Hmm,
yeah, they're pretty